what a game. What an absolute game.
You're the champions of the world.
World champions here in the United States. Absolutely. Did you watch any of it?
I have no idea how baseball works. I've been to a baseball game, but yeah. I didn't know what they were doing.
No, well, it's you feel the way I do about cricket.
Okay, I don't know what happens in cricket either.
What? Oh, okay. I kind of understand the concept of rugby. Like you're going that way, and similar to American football. But anyways, oh my, look, Gamble, what is happening? Digital Ramblers, we are back. Episode 151. If you didn't check out 150, it was fuego. The people that did, oh my, Gamble, the comments were epic. Thank y'all for joining us there on Facebook and dropping some comments.
Yeah, we're on the road to episode 200. I'm beginning the countdown early, JJ.
It's coming. It's going to happen, no doubt about it.
And actually, I'm thinking about a parade. I've been inspired by the Houston Astros. I think we should have an episode 200 parade. Let's organize it now.
Woo! It's going to happen. There you go. A year from now?
Yeah, it will be about then. Yeah,
about then. Yeah, we should be. We should be celebrating, or at least nail biting.
Okay, so we're continuing our how-to series.
Yeah.
And this week we're going to talk about a pretty hot topic, and this
is an elephant in the room topic.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of those ones that you never really want to bring up in a fear of frightening people about a connected home, scaring people about smart home. But everything that we install is dependent on the security of the network. So this week, JJ, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, this week we are going to talk about how to ... And it's popping up right here on the window. How to ... protect your home from cyber attacks. And Gamble, this is something that is in our industry, we know happen on a regular basis. And these attacks can happen from all kinds of devices. We're not just talking about smart home devices. These problems happen whenever you're at the coffee shop, or whenever you're over at your parents' house, or they're at your house. These things are everywhere, and they're just kind of hiding in the shadows, just waiting for an opportunity to attack. But I'm happy to say that there are options out there for homeowners and businesses to actually protect themselves with some understanding of what's actually happening. This is one of those, there's something available possibly coming down the line that can lift the veil of understanding of what's going on your network.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one because it is a bit of a new topic for both of us. So, let's get into it. Episode 151. Let's push that button, JJ.
Hey, and thanks for joining us. And those that are new to the Digital Ramble Show, please take a look at our website at digitalrambleshow.com, where you can find all of our previous episodes, 150 of them, as well as you can check us out on 11 different podcast streaming services. Apple Music, what is it? Apple iTunes? I don't do Apple. I do Spotify.
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts. There you go. You can find us there. But our favorite is Anchor.fm, because you can actually go on there and leave us a voice recording and let us know your thoughts on the topics that we've discussed and topic at hand. And today we are talking about cybersecurity and attacks that are prevalent and possible to happen in your house.
I think for many years, since the early days of us all having a home computer, we were always made aware of viruses, and a lot of us paid out a lot of money per month, per year to host an antivirus software running on our machines. And that for a long time, it was just, we just had one computer in our home and you protected it. And then it felt like for a period, antivirus kind of went out of fashion.
Mm.
I think people started to trust more their Apple Mac, their MacBook, their iMac, and there was some myths about things being unhackable or hyper secure. And then people then adopted smartphones and tablets, and I think they started to trust more that the provider of the telephone, the manufacturer of the telephone or the tablet is protecting them,
Mm-hmm.
which is a complete fantasy if you think that that device is keeping you safe from the millions of attacks. And I think we looked up the statistic, JJ. It was like 1 billion, 1 billion IoT hacks
Yeah.
per day. I think it was something ridiculous. It was like a mind-blowing figure. And it's it needs to come we need to come back to being way more secure and aware of our devices and who is on our network and who's leaving, joining, and has access to our network.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about virus and software, and at one point, that was all that was available at one time. And the way that I understand virus software to work is you have to download it to a particular device. And so that virus software would live on my computer. But what about the virus software that can live on a tablet or on your phone or other
Smart
areas,
TV.
smart
Yeah.
TV areas that you just can't protect from virus softwares? And so what do you do about that?
Yeah. These virus software, agent softwares, they're specific to one device. It doesn't pay any attention to the wider network that you're connected to. It's
Mm,
only running locally on your machine. And yes, it's getting updates for all the latest threats and providing you keep it running, it is constantly monitoring your device whilst you're
mm,
on the device. But when you think about, even say we just had phones, tablets, and laptops and computers, right? They're devices that we kind of use and operate personally. But what about all the devices that are connected, like thermostats and cameras and
mm.
doorbells? We've
Yeah,
no interaction with those. We don't really operate them. They're there provided to us as a service, but they're connected to our network.
that's correct. And the manufacturers are usually updating the firmware whenever they find patches that are necessary to prevent hacks from happening. But they're only as fast as their software department is, in the sense that they are alerted to a new hack that they didn't know might exist, and to fill that hole per se of access, uh, you're vulnerable until that manufacturer has the fix for it. And so what do you do? Gamble. I was at an event, and before the event, a couple of days before the event, I got two stories for you, because I really want, and one's for residential and the other one is for commercial. And I had a client call me, and it was a couple of days before this expo, and she was like, JJ, I've been hacked. I got a phone number to call, and I've been hacked, and I'm terrified, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's spread, on my network. What do I do? And honestly, I'm not too sure of what she could have done other than research the phone number prior to calling it. There are some, you know, procedures that should be done before just immediately, you know, doing whatever a pop-up might request of you, or something that you might read in the email that you receive. That's more of a phishing type of a virus, phishing to see if they can create some type of call to action for you to click on, and that's either in a link or in an image. And so if if you don't know who it's from, just go ahead and delete that immediately. Is my first suggestion. And if it's important, they'll call you.
Yeah.
Or send you a letter or something like that. But don't click any links or download anything that you've never seen. So my client, unfortunately, there was a pop-up. It said call a phone number, and she allowed somebody to log into her computer and started asking her to do some really suspicious things. Then she unplugged the computer and hung up the phone, and was very concerned about her security. And doesn't know it, in panic, and doesn't know if he downloaded something into her house, not only on the computer, but very possible he could have downloaded something to her printer, that connects to the internet. And that happens. If you have a scale that connects to the network, yes, there could be a vulnerability in that. The other story that I have, Gamble, and this is a verbal conversation at the bar that I had with some friends over a drink, and they were like, Jay, residential is an everyday occurrence, but commercial is being hacked all of the time as well. And there was a big retailer that we all know who it is, and they were hacked via their HVAC. HVAC is their smart thermostat. And the hack went through their smart thermostat and just laid in wait until they found an opportunity. And usually a hack is the hack is not getting into the thermostat. The hack is just getting into the thermostat is just like the foothold. That's just the starting point. And they just kind of lay in wait, and they're looking for that second vulnerability that they can actually, take advantage of. And so what do you do about that? How do you stop that virus from accessing that network? And that's, I think that there are answers out there that you and I can definitely share with our audience. But these are things that definitely are an elephant in the room that our audience needs to consider and really think about the exposure that they might have. And I'm gonna, something, Gamble. I want to challenge our audience. How many devices do you think you have on your network at your house? Gamble, do you think they know?
Well, listen, this is
They
one
have
of the
no clue.
basic things that I say
Michael's like, I have no clue.
Yeah. This is one of the basic things that I ask customers to check, because we've put in a Wi-Fi system for them. It gives them an app that they can see more than they could typically see through their internet service provider's modem or router. I say to them, look, are these people meant to be on your network? Are these devices recognized by you? And if they are, give them a familiar name. So I'll take my house as an example. I've got my son's Xbox. That's got a name. Because before I give it a name, a familiar name, it might just say Xbox AB137XZ. I don't know what that is. If it's a Samsung TV, which I might have 2 or 3 of them, I want to know which one's the living room, which one's the kitchen, which one's the bedroom. Because for all I know, as much as I like my next door neighbor, they could be on my Wi-Fi. They could be using my internet to connect tablets, phones, printers, security cameras. How do you know everything that's connected to your network? And then new arrivals, and this is where I like systems, Wi-Fi systems that tell you that a new device is connected to your network. I'm a big fan of that, because it could be that you've had something installed that you didn't want installed, like maybe you've had a change to some of your electrical equipment or your heating equipment, and unbeknown to you, it's been connected to the internet, and you might not want that. So you should have the option to kick that off the network, pause it, or give it limited permission.
Yeah. And Gamble, the two wireless solutions that we're always talking about provide that easy access through app through an app that allows you to name said devices. And then you can also make those devices as safe to be on the network.
Mm.
And anything that is, like you said, that comes onto your network, you are alerted, and then you can say, yeah, this device can go ahead and be on my network, or no, let's go ahead and block this. What's going on here? And at least with the manufacturers that we're representing and installing, you can do that remotely. And so you don't have to be at home. And so if your son has a friend, or your kiddo has a friend that comes over and they bring their wireless device, you can name it Timmy's iPad if you deem it safe to be on your network as a guest, or not. You can block it from being on the network.
Yeah, and another good piece of housekeeping really for your Wi-Fi is the creation of a
No
guest
doubt.
network that truly segregates devices. It provides them internet connection, but doesn't allow them the freedom to talk to other devices on the network.
Mm.
And that should be standard practice for home and business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the threat can come from, that you can bring threats into your home because you've been part of a public network in a office environment, an airport, a coffee shop, restaurant. You can it's, to me, it's like picking up dog dirt on your shoe and then dragging it into your home.
Yeah.
Like, you just wouldn't do it, but you're happy to pick up somebody else's crap and drag it into your home network. Why?
Right.
Why is that happening?
Right. Gamble, the other thing that everybody has been screaming about, and which makes news, and I don't think it's fair at all to manufacturers that people claim have been hacked, and it's not necessarily the manufacturer's fault. Actually, the individual has been compromised by their email address, and it doesn't necessarily mean the email address was compromised from your home. Some third party, you could have gotten compromised from the local donut shop, and they could have picked up your email address from the donut shop. And then because you have your generic username and password as admin or admin password, because they have your email address that's legitimate, they can run a phishing thing on your home and look for all the devices that use your email address, as well as generic admin password, or admin or admin 1234, or all the generic ones. They can run them in a split millisecond, and you don't even know. So please, for the love of Pete, change your username and password. And one other thing, I have people all the time that say, I have a spreadsheet of passwords.
Yeah.
I asked a cybersecurity expert. He works over in DC, Washington D.C., and I said, everybody's like, man, I got a spreadsheet of passwords. I can't. He's like, JJ, you only need one password, but that one password needs to be a combination of 16. It can be a phrase. I like chocolate chip cookies, but use symbols for some of the letters. And you can use spacings, or maybe not spacings, but in that phrase of I love chocolate chip cookies, works fantastic. And you can use the same password on every device that you own. You don't have to worry about a hack, because nobody, supposedly, there's no algorithm that can hack, a phrase that is very unique, that has caricatures that are very unique. So we can all, my understanding is, throw away that spreadsheet of passwords, as long as we have a cool phrase that we love and can remember.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also trust their device to remember their password, and that's also has its pitfalls, that if you can't get access to that storage of passwords, and some of them are auto created by the device, that to me, it feels a little bit risky just to leave it all in the device, although it's not in the device per se. It's
Oh.
typically stored in the cloud, but yeah, it's a tricky one that I'm not sure about one password. I would take a lot of convincing to go that route, but I can understand that that would be a secure password as well.
Yeah.
Um,
As long as nobody knows what that phraseology is.
hmm.
But even in cyber, with your digital wallets, I think you're getting like a 12 word passphrase that you have to remember or write down.
I heard a story on a YouTube video with the kind of probably the most famous YouTuber now, Mr. Beast.
Oh yeah.
He had his password for his crypto wallet written on a sticky note on a sticker on his MacBook, and it had his password.
And
And
he videoed it.
he had about $2 million dollars worth of Bitcoin in there. This was
Oh,
a good few years ago, and his MacBook was stolen.
oh God.
And eventually they retrieved the MacBook, they found it, and he was so worried that, crikey, the password was right there. All they had to do, and he opened up the laptop, logged in, and not a single cent of Bitcoin had
Oh
been
my Lord.
stolen. And that person had, that person could have transferred it all.
Man, change that phrase. Change that phrase. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm terrified of forgetting my phrase or my 12 words. I'm terrified of that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, man. But cybersecurity and cyber attacks in a residence is, man, it's good money from my understanding, from what I read in the papers, and it happens. It is not something that does not happen, and so we know that there's virus software that lives on individual devices, but honestly, there needs to be devices that actually block content from going back and forth that is not wanted on your network.
Yeah, I think there's always been vulnerable devices. Printers have always been recognized as a vulnerable device. So some of them have features where they're creating like a hotspot for you to connect to. I'm always concerned about those. I also uh, always encourage people to try and, if they've got their own Wi-Fi system, try and turn off the Wi-Fi part of their home router, their internet service provider's device, because sometimes that's easy to find out. It could be a visitor to your home, easily takes a photograph of the back of the modem where it's displaying the password, even displays the admin password to get into the setting. So I've seen those sitting in windowsills
Mm.
with their back to the outside world where you can read the password, which I think is just wow. That's like leaving your PIN code to your
Bank
bank card,
account.
whatever. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But that happens. Get that changed
Or just get it out of the
disable.
window. Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess it's common over there. Is it because you have a satellite receiving modem and you put it in the window to receive signal? Is that a common?
No, it's
Because we have that here.
just the placement. People put it on windowsills just
Uh-huh.
because it's where the incoming telephone connection might come in, but
Yeah.
just where it's found a place. But I'm always conscious of, cybersecurity can be prevented just from some physical changes, and just being aware that who have you given passwords to, who's accessed your network.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, be savvy about what people might be asking you to do if you were on a telephone call to your bank
Yeah.
or you thought it was your bank, telephone call to uh, a service provider from any other, your
Hmm.
electrical company, anything like that.
Right.
There's kind of triggers that you should be saying, wow, I don't think you need to know that information.
Right. The other thing, Gamble, is for at least our clients and the clients that kind of go the less is more approach, the keeping it reals, the nulls of grouping. If it asks, would you like to do a firmware update Yes, absolutely. If you have a phone or if you have a computer and it says, "Hey, we need to do a firmware update," and it's legit and it's from Windows, do the or on or iOS, do the update. There's a reason that they're sending them out, and the majority of the time is because there's a vulnerability that's been detected, and in order to protect your device, you need to do the firmware update. Those and that that goes for like your Blu-ray player and your Apple TV and your televisions. If it's asking for a firmware update, go ahead and do that update. On your television, if you're using a third-party controller, usually that third-party controller is extremely clunky to try to navigate over to the TV controls. But if you have the original TV remote like a Sony or a Samsung or an LG, just grab that original remote and navigate to the menu and update the firmware, and then you know that your television's updated. Sometimes it'll encourage you to do an update and give you a little pop-up there in that top right-hand corner.
Yeah, so I think what we're kind of moving towards is soon JJ and myself we're gonna introduce you to a product in the coming weeks that we've discovered as business owners, and it's something that's inspired our business to really concentrate more on cybersecurity. It's not something that's we've never thought about, but products come along and they kind of trigger you to review how you conduct and how you protect your customers' networks, which is always top of mind anyway. But things are evolving, and JJ and I were also talking about how the current situation is what it is, but what are we going to see in the future? Decentralized currencies, digital IDs, artificial intelligence. I think we said it in other episodes where what stage we're at now is still early days. We're just still in the
scratching the dirt,
the opening scenes of the smart world, and I think our networks really need to start becoming more robust. Where our own personal habits need to become more secure as well.
Yeah, and Gamble, the biggest thing for me is understanding, and if our clients would download an app. There's an app called Fing. I don't know if y'all have that over in the UK or not.
Yeah, got that.
Yeah, but download this app, Fing, Fing. And what it does is when you're on a network, and this should be at your home in particular is what I'm talking about. When you're on your home, get on your Wi-Fi, open Fing, hit search, and it will lift the veil of the amount of devices that are on your network there at the house. Usually, Gamble, we're seeing homes that have, our average client homes are having anywhere from 27 to 35 devices on the network, and that's anywhere from video doorbells to smart speakers to surveillance camera systems to shades, irrigation controls, garage door openers. It's
so I've got 46. I've got 46 devices on my network. Yeah.
People just don't understand how many devices are there. And each one of those devices could have at least one vulnerability. So I think in a couple of episodes coming forward, we're going to talk about how can you expose and plug the holes of vulnerability in there. So
and also, I think we're going to talk about this more and more, because we don't expect you to be experts, but what we're going to try and help you identify are methods, techniques, products that will help you be secure, but without you having to retrain us to some cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, less is more. Make it easy, but I want to understand, and I want to know that there is a solution. So super excited of what is to come. That's a wrap on episode 151, bro. It's a good one.
Don't forget JJ's challenge. It was to find out how many devices are connected to your network.
Yeah, drop it down in our comments.
Get that app, Thing, or Wi-Fi Man is another good one. and you can do a scan of your network and put it in the comments of YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, like we say every time, if you don't know, find yourself a home tech pro. And until next time, have a fantastic week.